After a decade in space and 4 years orbiting Mercury, the little spacecraft that could will finally end its mission with a bang. NASA's Messenger craft has gone far and above its original mission. It was only meant to last for a year, and it's going to crash land onto the planet. It's been an undeniable success, and the probe has transmitted some of the most breathtaking images of space back to Earth. Well, with me now is our science reporter Jonathan Webb, who's been looking into Messenger for us. Messenger's done well.
It certainly has. I mean, Messenger or Mercury, a lot of what we know about Mercury has come from this little craft. Around about the size of a small car, weighs about 500 kilos, 3 meters across. And when it reaches the end of its mission, which is tonight UK time, it'll create a crater much bigger, about 16 meters across, because it's going to hit Mercury at over 8,000 miles an hour. It's traveling several miles every second, but it's out of fuel. So when it set off more than 10 years ago, half of the weight that it took off with was fuel. And that's gradually been used up. And now its orbit has been slowly getting closer and closer to the planet, and it ends with a bang, as you say, tonight UK time.
Beautiful, breathtaking images that's transmitted back. But what's the most significant scientific finding?
Well, it's been in orbit for 4 years. Its original plan was only 1, so it's collected an enormous amount of data, more than 250,000 images and terabytes of different scientific measurements. But among the surprises were things like the magnetic field of Mercury, which we knew was there from an earlier mission that was much, much further away and never orbited. But Messenger was able to find out that magnetic field is actually off-center. It's oddly, a good 10% away from the middle of the planet. But the most surprising one was probably the water. Even though Mercury is really hot, it's much closer to the sun than we are, there are craters in the poles that are always in shadow. And inside those, there's billions of tons of water ice hiding there away from the sun. And that was a big surprise that we only found out because we had Messenger orbiting this planet.
Well, let's talk about the humans for a minute, Jonathan, because it's a sad day for the mission scientists, I suppose, who've been working on this. I know you've been speaking to them. What did they tell you? Yeah,
it's a mixture of emotions. I mean, they look back on everything they've done. They're very proud, but everything's still in working order. I mean, the Messenger has exceeded all of the expectations, but actually most of the instruments are still recording data. So it's just the fact that it had a limited amount of fuel that means it now has to slowly get closer and closer and eventually blast into the surface.
And Messenger will actually manage to transmit images right up until the very last.
Not quite.
Not
so
quite?
When it crashes, it'll be on the other side of the planet from where we're looking from. So the last few images will never make it back to Earth. They reckon on top of the 250,000 or more that we've already had, the last 1,000 or so will die with Messenger and never be seen by human eyes.
Jonathan, thanks very much for joining us. Well, let's bring